Hey everyone, it's me Triton, and in today's video I'm going to give you my opinion on the updates in the 2.0 client patch notes. I do want to avoid another near 20-minute video, so I'm going to primarily touch on the big changes, but I will provide a link to the patch notes in the video's description for anyone who wants to read through them. Now, as many of you know, the biggest change the 2.0 client patch brought about was the update to the player progression system, which I did a walkthrough of on Wednesday. The rest of the patch was pretty typical: heroes and villains balancing, some class and weapon tuning, and changes to the spawn points on several of the maps. Let's start with the heroes and villains balancing. The biggest winner of this update was Iden Versio. She received a 100 base health boost from 550 to 650. Her droid shield ability is now active for 12 seconds instead of 10. Her pulse cannon ability got a major overhaul and feels like a slower firing version of Boss Relby V10 when zoomed in. And lastly, her hot swap star card will now give health when the droid stuns enemies. Let me just say, I had a chance to play Iden in Galactic Assault the other day, and she feels a whole lot more like an actual hero now, and she may be even better in the future, as the development team noted that they still aren't done making modifications to her abilities. My hope is that in the future, her droid shield ability will block explosive rounds, and reducing the charge on her pulse cannon ability even slightly more would be ideal. Other winners of the patch include Boba Fett, as the development team tweaked his jetpack so he doesn't fly forward at 100 miles an hour. He also received a 50 base health boost from 500 to 550. Now, I don't really think the latter was needed, but I am glad that it didn't go in an extreme direction either way. Leia Organa, who I already thought was in a fantastic place before the patch, can now regenerate 200 base health as opposed to 150. And her health will begin to regenerate after 4.5 seconds instead of 5. Throw in a new haircut and Leia is in an even better place now than she was before the patch. Lastly, the development team is looking into more applications for her squad shield ability, specifically in Heroes vs. Villains. Like Boba Fett, Han Solo also received a 50 base health boost from 600 to 650. They also fixed an issue where his detonite charge ability wasn't exploding in midair. If there was one hero that received a mild nerf, it would be Chewbacca, as you can no longer activate his stun grenade ability if another one of his abilities is activating. I know a ton of people complain about his stun grenades in Heroes vs. Villains, so perhaps this will silence a few of those people. Moving on to the class and weapon updates, the biggest thing you need to know is that the weapon cooling mods for your weapons have been fixed across every class. Not only will your weapons cool properly if you have the mod on them, but the explosive rounds are no longer completely bonkers as they were after the 1.2 client patch. As far as class updates go, no class really received a buff, but the officer class did receive a necessary nerf. For starters, the officer's presence ability will now grant a flat amount of battle points no matter how many of their teammates are boosted. They also took away the point stacking of the ability, so players can no longer stand in choke points and accumulate thousands of battle points. This was a necessary nerf, as the officer class was really the only option if you wanted to top the leaderboard before the explosive rounds got out of hand last month. Additionally, they nerfed the end damage for the default pistol from 20 to 17, but more importantly, they finally nerfed the SE-44C. The amount of shots that can be fired has been reduced, both for the standard version and with the cooling mod on. Also, the end damage distance was decreased from 40 to 30 meters. I think this was an important change. I am fine with the officer having really effective weapons at close to medium-ish range, but the SE-44C was just too powerful at longer distances. Specialists got a slight bump to their thermal binocular ability. Spotted enemies will now stay spotted for longer, and 25 battle points are now awarded for spotting them. In my opinion, this class won't be viable until their health is boosted a little bit, as it's an unplayable class outside of Phase 1 in Crate, Hoth, Kashyyyk, and Naboo. There were several updates to some of the game modes. For Galactic Assault, the spawn points have been moved to allow one side to better attack or to defend an objective. The issue I see here is that I didn't think the defender or attacker spawns were an issue for Takodana or Tatooine in terms of the respawn distance from the objectives. While they adjusted the Phase 3 defender respawn for Kashyyyk, I feel like Phase 1 and Phase 2 still need some work on both sides. My main complaint is that you still tend to spawn on the side of a completed objective or one that has been lost and are often over 150 meters away upon respawn in those scenarios. One change that I was happy to see was the increase to the cost of the LAT gunship on Camino from 400 battle points to 1,000. This still isn't enough in my opinion, and it should be at least 2,500 battle points. They did at least increase the respawn timer to 30 seconds for Camino and Kashyyyk, so people can't spam the selection of the LAT gunship over and over again. Lastly, after making the ATST overly accessible in Phase 1 of Takodana for the First Order, they have increased the cost from 1,500 to 2,500 battle points. There were also several general bug fixes, most of these related to collision detection, milestone and star cards not working properly, and general stability issues. Again, you can check those all out in the official patch notes by clicking on the link in the video's description. The last thing I want to make mention of is that I was very disappointed to see that the level 50 achievement/trophy bug wasn't listed in the known issues section. From what I understand, this has been glitched since the 1.2 client patch, and it's personally preventing me from obtaining the platinum trophy for this game, so I am very hopeful this will be at the top of their list come the 1.2 client patch next month. But that is it for this video on the 2.0 client patch notes. Thanks for checking it out and supporting the channel. As always, feel free to leave a comment below, and you can interact with me on Twitter at TritonPlz and catch me streaming Battlefront 2 on Tuesday night from 9 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have some really cool updates coming to my channel in regards to Battlefront 2 content, so stay tuned for that. But until that time, may the Force be with you, and I hope you all have a great day.